Hey guys, Dan Calloway coming at you again, and today I want to introduce you to a distro of Linux that you may not be familiar with. This one's called GeckoLinux. I just happen to have the website up, so let me just open it here. This is GeckoLinux, and it's Linux for detail-oriented geckos, and I'm one of those. You can click the download SUSE Studio test drive, and you can test drive this distro of Linux. I am choosing to install it, and I did. And I'm not doing the static, but I'm doing the GeckoLinux rolling plasma installation, which means it's using Tumbleweed as the distribution background. And it's setting it up as GeckoLinux. It's really nice. I like it. I want to show it to you. So let me go ahead and minimize this and bring you back out to the desktop here. And let me click on the application menu and click on Settings and Configure Desktop. You can do everything from here. You can set up your workspace theme. Here you can do your look and feel, desktop theme, cursor theme, splash screen. Just double click on this here and opens it up. I'm using the Breeze Dark desktop or look and feel. I'm using a desktop theme here that is the Breeze Dark theme. I like the dark theme. The cursor theme, I'm using the Breeze Snow cursor. And splash screen, I've got this set up to right now to none, actually. Alright, so let's go back to settings and go to fonts. Double click it, and I'm using the Nimbus Sans L12 font size here. You can click on font management and you can control all your fonts within the system if you like. Let's go back out here. This is a Plasma 5 installation, as I mentioned. So it uses Plasma 5, not GTK. Alright, so let's go to desktop behavior. Here you can change your desktop effects, your screen edges. I don't have a touch screen on this tower. Virtual desktops, and I have 4 set up down here. So let me double click on the desktop behavior. For the workspace, desktop effects, I'm going to click on that, and that opens this up, and you can change all of your desktop effects here. For screen edge, sliding pop-ups, dimming screen for administrator mode, just like you do in Windows 10. It can activate the desktop grid when you do an edge, which I have set up as well, and I'll show you that in a moment. Screen edges, I have 2 of them right now, and one is the present Windows all desktop, and then the desktop grid. Now with the desktop grid, I've told it to use the desktop grid here by the right hand side of the screen. And so what that does is, let me just show you. If I come out to the right hand side and click it here, I need to go all the way to the edge. It brings up my desktops here, and you see I have different desktops, one on left and right. Then I can click here and bring it back to the way I want it. Okay. Virtual desktops. Double click it here. I've set up 4 desktops with the number of rows being 2. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. And then I don't use activities at all. So let's go back to all settings. Windows management, you can control it here. Startup and shutdown as well. Personalization, you can control that as well here. Network connectivity, you can control that within this interface. You can, for instance, power management. I told it that for energy saving, I don't have the screen energy saver set up. I suspend the session after 60 minutes. I also prompt log out dialog when the power button is pressed, and then I leave the wireless unchanged here. Okay. Let's go back out to all settings again, and let's see, printer, display, and monitor. Let me show you that. For display and monitor, I do have 2 monitors here, as you can tell. The default monitor is the one on the left, and then the right one is not the default. These are two identical monitors. Both of them are set to a resolution of 1280 by 1024 with a normal orientation. And I have, if I go to advanced settings here, I have the refresh rate being set to automatic. Compositor, I have animation speed as instant with a scale method of smooth, rendering backend of OpenGL 3.1. And so let's go back out to all settings again, and let's close this. Alright, and I have my email set up here. It's the Mozilla Thunderbird. So I've got that set up here now, so I can go in and read my email from my Outlook account. Off to the right hand side here, I've got some widgets set up, and you can install widgets by just right clicking on the desktop, and you would have to unlock the widgets here, and you can right click and add widgets, and that opens up a widgets flyout here, and you can scroll down and you can just drag and drop widgets here from this interface onto the screen, which is what I've done over here. I've got the one here that when I click it, it brings up the dashboard is what it's called, okay? And then I can go in here, and if I want to, I can select these, and I can launch like Opera or Thunderbird or whatever Office. I can click that and launch LibreOffice Writer on the right hand side here, and I can move it across if I want to on the left. GeckoLinux does support dual monitors. Alright, so that should open up here, and it opens up on the right hand side, but as I said, I can drag that across and then maximize it to full screen so I can get it to my right hand side if I want it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. I've got a calculator if I want to do quick calculation here, and then I've got a media controller to start and stop anything that's running in the DVD player. Okay, here's the taskbar down here, and the application menu is the menu looks like Windows 7 actually. And I've got, for instance, multimedia. I've got Clementine, VLC media player. I've got my system. I have the HP device manager, file manager, Dolphin, for instance. We can take a look at Dolphin. So let's take a look at Dolphin. This is the file manager for GeckoLinux. It's also the one for Leap 42.2. And so it pulled it up on the right-hand side here for me. Okay, and then let's see, one other thing I want to show you is let's click on System and Yakuwaki or Yakuwake, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It says that it's successfully started, so if I want to close this, if I hit F12, it brings up a screen here for a terminal. Put in the super user's password, and I'm able to get in here to the super user. It just brings up a quick screen for me here so I can do quick things. You know, like for instance, if I want to run the new uname all to see what version of Linux I have and what version of the kernel I have, I can do that. You know, and I can do anything within the terminal from here. Let me go ahead and exit that. If I want to bring up another terminal or any other thing I want to do here, all I have to do is start typing. And so with the pointer or the cursor out on the screen, all I got to do is type terminal and hit enter, and that brings up the super user terminal here for me, and put in the super user's password or root's password, and it lets me in here to you know, have super user or administrative privileges. Okay, so that's a quick rundown of GeckoLinux, and so if you want to get the rolling version, which would be Tumbleweed, you can do that from the GeckoLinux website. If you want instead to get one based on Leap 42.2, which I run, by the way, on my laptop, you can select instead the static GeckoLinux static plasma stable, and that will use Leap 42.2 as opposed to Tumbleweed, which is more unstable but gives you greater capability. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close this. And thank you for allowing me to demonstrate GeckoLinux today. Here's my widget for my clock out here. I always have to have my clock. Have a good day.